Hello everybody and welcome back to another YouTube video. So in this video, I'm going to share with you the 10 most popular programming languages and what they're used for. Now I've taken these rankings from GitHub based on the most popular pull request languages in Q2 of 2020. So ideally, this will give us the best idea of the current most popular programming languages, but of course, you can argue these rankings and I'm sure that the rankings of these languages will change as we go through the year. Anyways, with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. As no surprise, coming in at spot number 1, we have JavaScript. Now, JavaScript is an extremely popular programming language that is used everywhere on the web. Now, although JavaScript can be used as a server-side programming language with tools like Node.js, it is commonly run client-side within a web browser. Now, this enables JavaScript to be one of the most versatile languages when it comes to building interactive front-end user interfaces. Any modern website you visit uses a ton of JavaScript to make the website interactive, and any dialogue, form, or animation you see is likely being controlled by JavaScript. And now, with the popularity of front-end frameworks like Vue.js, React, and Angular, it is not surprising that JavaScript tops this list. Now, as a final thought, it's worth noting that JavaScript is dynamically typed, and although it can be used for many other applications, there are typically much better choices. And at number 2, we have my personal favorite programming language, which is Python. Now, Python is a general purpose programming language, meaning it has a much wider use case than something like JavaScript. Now, it is heavily used in server-side applications, ethical and I guess non-ethical hacking, data science, machine learning, artificial intelligence, scientific computing, and general scripting tasks. Now, Python is known to be easy to learn, easy to read, and easy to write. So this makes it great for smaller projects and the tasks that I listed above, but its main disadvantage comes from its lack of speed and the fact that it is dynamically typed. Now, just like JavaScript, this makes it difficult to maintain in large-scale projects. So Python has also been used in millions of applications around the world. Some of them are Instagram, YouTube, Dropbox. It was actually used by NASA in their integrated planning system and was even responsible for the AI in the game Civilization 4. So Python is usually capable of accomplishing most programming tasks, but oftentimes there are far better choices. They may be less versatile, but they will be better at that specific task. And we will see that as we get through the rest of this list. Moving on to Java. So Java is known for being a dying programming language, but it's actually still quite widely used and comes into our list at number 3. Now, Java is another general purpose language that is well suited for game and mobile app development, enterprise level applications, and also building web apps. Now, Java is a statically typed language, it is compiled, and although it may be frustrating to write in, it provides many advantages in terms of structure and code maintainability that you won't get in, say, Python and JavaScript. Now, some of those popular applications that use Java are, of course, Minecraft, the Adobe Creative Suite, and most general Android applications. Now, as I said, Java is the core for Android mobile app development, and although languages like Kotlin now exist, it is still used very heavily. Over 3 billion devices run Java, and it follows the WORA principle, which is write once, run anywhere. So once you've compiled your Java code, it can run on any device that runs Java. And to summarize all of this, Java actually is not that bad of a programming language, and I would definitely recommend learning it. Now, Go, otherwise known as Golang, is number 4 on this list and is a fairly new and widely used programming language. Golang emerged as an alternative to C++ and Java for the app developers at Google and was actually created by 2 Google employees and released in 2012. Now, Go is a robust, system-level language typically used on the server side for large-scale distributed systems. Go is designed around concurrency and is extremely performance-heavy. Go is used across millions of Google servers and is the backend of some popular websites like Dropbox. Now, Golang also has Python-like syntax and has performance similar to C++. Now, this makes it its main advantage in how quickly you can develop with it while still maintaining high performance. Now, I personally am a huge fan of Go and would encourage anyone, especially any of you that know Python, to look into it because it's a really interesting language and something to add to your tool belt. And at number 5, we have C++. So C++ is the industry standard for AAA games and is used extensively to develop 3D applications, operating systems, browsers, compilers, and other countless performance-dependent applications. Now, C++ is extremely fast and has a somewhat unique ability to interface with the user's hardware, giving it much more control on a lower level. So imagine like talking to a graphics card. Now, C++ is known for being a difficult language to learn and write in, and is not recommended for beginners. Generally speaking, you should have a good reason to use C++ when there are often easier and faster options to develop with. Now, it's worth noting that C++ is also used on the web, but typically you'll see it more in embedded systems and performance-concerned applications like I've mentioned. Now, some examples of C++, it's used in the Apple OS, it's part of Microsoft Windows, it's used in database software like MySQL, and of course, almost all your AAA 3D games use C++. And moving on to number 6, we have TypeScript. Now, TypeScript is another new-ish programming language that was actually developed at Microsoft and happens to be a superset of JavaScript. So this means almost everything you know about JavaScript is transferable to TypeScript with a few minor exceptions. Now, TypeScript is, as it reads, a statically typed language that actually transpiles into native JavaScript. So all your TypeScript code actually gets transpiled or compiled, whatever you want to call it, into JavaScript before it runs. Now, the reason why it exists is actually to make developers' lives easier by providing interfaces, modules, optional static typing, better code navigation, error detection, and just a ton of other things that help with maintainability, readability, and all those things that I've mentioned. Now, TypeScript is used in replacement or conjunction with JavaScript to provide a better development experience. So while working at Microsoft this summer, I actually wrote a bunch of code for the Python extension in VS Code using solely TypeScript. So I highly recommend all JavaScript developers check out TypeScript. It won't take you long to learn, and it's definitely worth it. And number 7 brings us to Ruby. Now, Ruby is a general purpose programming language pretty similar to Python, is also dynamically typed, object-oriented. It is a general purpose scripting language, and it can be used for many different applications, but obviously its most popular implementation is Rails, otherwise known as Ruby on Rails, which is used to design web applications. Now, Ruby is considered to be more elegant than Python in terms of web development, and is used on popular sites like Shopify, GitHub, Airbnb, Fiverr, and many more. It is fast, adheres to very strict standards, and those standards make it easier to learn and generally makes the code much more clear when you're reading through it. And at number 8, we have everybody's favorite programming language, which is PHP. Now, PHP is a general purpose scripting language that is especially well suited to server-side web development. So it usually runs on a web server, and PHP is known as an old, dying language, and there are many alternatives to it now that are typically recommended for new development. That being said, many developers still must know and be able to write in PHP, and that is because it is used all over the web, mostly in older code bases. Now, to give you some examples, Facebook, Yahoo, and Wikipedia were originally developed in PHP, and WordPress actually uses a ton of PHP today. So there's a few specific cases where you may want to use PHP, but personally, I wouldn't recommend anyone learn it or even use it unless you have a very good reason to do so. And at number 9, we have C#. Now, C# is extremely versatile and can be used to make pretty much anything. That said, it is particularly well suited for building Windows-based applications and games. It is also commonly used to build web applications and recently has become more popular in mobile app development. Now, I'm sure many of you are familiar with the game development engine called Unity. This uses C# to design and create games. So like other languages on this list, C# is maintained by Microsoft and is continuing to grow year over year. One of the core advantages of C# is how massive its library is, providing you with higher level functionality compared to languages say like Java or C++. Although this language is not as popular as some of the other languages on this list, C# is a great language to learn and it is still demanded heavily in the programming industry. Now, last but definitely not least, we have C. Now, C is by far the most important programming language on this list and is responsible for the existence of many of the tools and languages we use every single day. Now, C is the core of almost all operating systems, microcontrollers, embedded systems, and a lot of enterprise level applications. C is extremely flexible and versatile, and allows control over low-level components and hardware that is not found in many higher-level programming languages, especially a lot of the other ones on this list. Now, many experienced developers highly recommend learning C, as it teaches you many fundamental programming concepts that will carry over to a lot of other programming languages. C excels at memory management and fast and efficient execution of code. And all of that said, C is extremely difficult to learn. It is not necessary for many developers, but it's definitely something that will be worth it if you can get into it and learn about a lot of the lower level concepts. Last thing I'll say here, because I know you guys will ask about these languages, Rust came in at 13 on this list, Swift was at 14, Kotlin was 15, Dart was 16, and Objective-C was 17. I will link these resources down below so you can have a look, but that has been it for the 10 most popular programming languages and what they're used for. If you guys enjoyed, please do make sure you leave a like, subscribe to the channel, and let me know down below what is your favorite programming language on this list.